Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of the KiloWatt Coaching Podcast. So today I'm extremely fortunate to have Mathieu of Cyclisme Performance, which is a French coaching company in France. So Mathieu, thanks for coming on. And would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more to the podcast and say about what you do with your coaching and a little bit of your personal background as a cyclist?
Yes. So yes, Mathieu, I'm 24. Thank you for the invitation, Marinus. And I'm a coach in France. I'm also a rider. It's my third year in a National One team here, so it's the highest level in France. It's a very high level. I did some races at the point two level, two like the small pro races, and I coach a few riders at the high level, and beside that, I'm also doing with my a colleague content online. So we do podcast, we do courses too, and we are building a tool, a coaching tool with AI. So I'm on it right now. So lots of work, and I have the time to train and race.
Yeah, because first of all, on your racing, I think, like when I try and explain what it's like racing at that level in France to people, I say it's a bit like, playing like Division One football or something, where it's this kind of, you could call it semi-professional, really. A lot of the riders are getting a wage, they're getting accommodation, and you're getting your bike given to and taken to the races. And most people are in, there aren't many people racing at that level who have, full-time office job, are they? There's not people working in the gendarme or the nurses or
Not
doctors
much,
who no.
not much.
So
Yeah, no.
it's pretty much all full-time riders
Yes.
or close to full-time riders who are really hungry to progress to that next level. So to be racing at that and also working as much as you are on your other projects is very impressive. So
Yes.
um, yeah.
No, the level is crazy there. I've
Mm.
seen you race in France too, no?
Yes, yeah, I raced in 2024 for a few months and then again in 2025.
Yes. So you saw the level there. Yes, it's crazy.
Mm.
There is so much
Yeah,
good riders.
yeah, because everyone knows that it's racing in France is a pathway to Pro Conti World Tour. You've got people from all over the world, from the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, all
Yes.
coming to France. So it's a much higher standard than it would be if it was just French people because you've got people. It's like a sort of premier league for
Mhm.
cycling, isn't it, within one country? So it's fantastically high level. So moving on then to your AI platform that you're building. So
Yes.
how much are you working on that and
Yes.
could you describe that a little bit?
I'm building that with a friend of mine. It's Kevin Ivan. It's the head of data science at Red Bull Bora team.
Yeah.
And it's a good friend of mine. And during the winter, I ride with him, and I told him that if we can give to an AI my methodology and all my training, the training I wrote on
Mm,
intervals.icu, that's the platform I use. If an AI can use all of that and maybe connect to intervals.icu, maybe it can coach. And that's what we've built. It works actually. We have
mm,
few people on, and it's working. It's crazy. It's very impressive to see the level at which it coach. And I've built that with a chatbot, so you can every time whenever you want you can ask the chatbot some questions, some adjustment to adapt the training to. You can do whatever you want, and
mm.
it can also analyze all your training data, all your training background, and everything. So it's very, very powerful. So we are right now just on the optimization side to reduce the cost, because it's AI behind that costs a lot. So yeah, we need to optimize that, and then it will be ready for the market.
So what like data does it sort of input like? Uh, so from the person who's being coached, like, does it take into account the comments they put on their ride, or for example, if someone goes and does a ride and they do 3 10-minute efforts at this power, how does I guess it can look at heart rate and stuff, but how does the chat bot know how hard that rider found that session, or how does it know, you know,
It's connected to intervals, so we see the power data and everything, and
yeah,
and
but
the
so for example, you could go out and do 3 times 10 minutes at 300 watts,
yes.
and how does and you could find it really easy, or it could have been a max effort, it could have been the most you can do. So
Yes.
how does the chatbot know whether how hard you found that?
Because
And
there is the critical power model behind that.
mm,
Yes, Kevin built a really good analyzing tool. Like it's just adapt from your level. So you have the zone, you have the yeah your power model and everything.
cool. I think I know from did you used to work for Arkea Samsic, Kevin?
Yes, that's it. And
Yeah.
then you work for Ineos, and
Okay. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
yes. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's really strong. It's yeah, you know what he does.
Mm. Because in 2020, they did that like scouting outreach
Yes.
program, because I was one of the 10 selected people in that in 2020,
Okay.
and so I remember that
Okay.
he was one of the data scientists that was working on it. So that was when I first came across Kevin, and then I followed that he then moved to Ineos from Arcadia and stuff. So yeah, that's
That's awesome.
that's really cool.
Yes.
Um, so sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Yes, and then the goal is to, because I think that there is more and more people using AI to train. Like they want training and analyze their session and everything. And I think that people will always trust coach and real people because they have a methodology, and the AI don't have a methodology. The AI just use everything you can find on the internet, so it's not you cannot trust 100%, and if there is someone riders following someone on the social media, or a riders, a good coach, they know that he's a good coach. They want his methodology, and my idea is to then use my tool to adapt the methodology and the training session to other coaches, and then the everyone can use my platform to subscribe to the coach they want.
Mm.
Because yeah, I think that's the future of coaching, maybe. And
So
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 the
can
yes.
you use like do you use this platform to help you do your own coaching? Like, is there some stuff it can just speed up for you?
Yes, that's the not right now, but that's the idea. And then the planification side will be yeah, the automatic. Like and then you have more time available for the call and to respond to the message and everything. But yeah, you will have the charts and all the analyze will be automatic, and you just have to chat and to adapt the plan if you want. So I think there will be two plan. Like one plan is it's AI autonomous, like just only the AI doing all the stuff, and another plan with AI and the coach, and you will yeah, book call and everything.
Mm. Excellent.
Yeah.
So if we start digging into your coaching philosophy a bit now, um, so if when you've got a rider that sort of hit a plateau, isn't
Mm.
progressing in their physiological side, um, how do you decide or figure out whether the the type of training they're not doing that they're doing is like not correct for them, or whether it's just that the total load isn't enough. For example, they're not doing enough of this type of work or enough total volume, or just generally not doing enough, or it's too much. So
Yeah.
how do you distinguish between whether the type of training is wrong or whether it's just the total load is wrong?
Yes. Yes. A good question. It can be both. It can be the wrong type of training and
Yeah.
too much of the wrong type. But the wrong type for me will be too much intensity. And now, with all the content online and the hype around Zone 2 and everything, there is, I think, not much of that right now. So maybe if it's the wrong type, that's it. The wrong type of intensity, it will be harder to do because all intensity at the end, it's stress on the body. And I think it's not the first cause of a plateau, but the doing too much for sure. And maybe not too much training, but also too much in the life in general, like too much stress on your work, from your family time and everything. You cannot fit everything in one day, so you cannot do everything. You have to make choice, and sometimes the choice it's not for the progression on cycling. And if you want to focus on cycling and on your progression, you can, but you need to remove stress from your work and other stuff. So that's where I will look first. And yes, too much or too little. It's hard to do too little. No, it's hard. But something I saw often, it's riders just not looking at the right things to see progress. Like they want to see their 5-minute power gaining 10 watts every 10 or 20 watts every year, but it's not possible. At the end, if you are really strong, you will not gain much watts at the high intensity. So we need to look below. And I think the lactate testing, it's a good tool for that, because we can see if the first threshold or the second threshold is improving. And often riders will not gain watts in high intensity, but they will gain watts in the first threshold. And it's something I see very, very often. And they will be better in races because they will be less or better fatigue resistant. So during the race, when they are in the wheels and in the bunch, they will maybe be below their first threshold, and so they will accumulate less fatigue, and at the end they will be able to do higher intensity at the end of the race. So that's how I look at progress for my riders. It's first I look at the race result, because it's not maybe your power profile that will show us your progress. And then the lactate testing, I find it's a good tool to see progression. So sometimes there is no plateau. Riders think they are in a plateau, but it's not a plateau if you look at the right thing.
Yeah, that's really excellent. So you're talking about how you do some lactate testing there. Do you use lactate just for LT1, or do you use it for a second threshold as well?
Yes, no, for the 2 threshold. I've done lots of VLM max testing too, but not no. I've stopped to do that. I think it's nice to do the VLM max testing one time, just to look at the profile of the rider. Sometimes it's good, but to follow the progression, it's hard to see progression with that. I prefer to look at the power for the 30-second sprint or 1-minute sprint. But for LT1 and LT2, I find it very, very useful.
Because I'll just express my quite strong opinion about VLA max, because I basically think it's pointless to measure it in terms of like measuring your lactate after a sprint, because like I see the inside philosophy is that therefore has some kind of trickle down effect on metabolism at lower intensities, which I just don't think is correct, and I don't agree with their philosophy there. Because for example, I think if you can improve your 20-second sprint by, say, doing some 20-second sprints or by doing some gym work, and that just allows you to produce more power, because your force production is better, and because your force production is better, then you produce more lactate. But it's the lactate comes as a consequence, rather that it's not like you can do a better sprint because you can produce more lactate. It's you
Yes.
produce more lactate because you can do a better sprint. So that's I don't know. I don't know if you what you think to that, but
Yes.
that's
No,
kind of my
I agree.
philosophy.
I agree. Even and that's also the problem with VLMAX. But when our riders are doing a very good sprint, they're really strong. But sometimes they don't have very high numbers in lactate. They maybe will not go above 10 millimoles, even if they do
Mm,
very strong sprints. But it's also because we are not measuring the production of lactate. It's also it's the balance between the production and the clearance in the
mm,
blood. So yes, a rider can improve his clearance of lactate, and so his VLA max will decrease. But it's not because their glycolytic power decrease. You know.
yeah. So what protocols do you like to use to measure someone's LT1 and LT2 then?
Um, long step, so it's above 6 minutes. So I prefer between 8 and 10 minute steps, and yeah, just increase. I think 15 watts. It's the minimum between steps. Below 15, it's yeah, it's there is too much noise from the power meter accuracy, the lactate meter accuracy, and everything. So 15, it's good. And if I know already the threshold of the riders, I can use 15. And if I don't know, I can use bigger steps just to make the whole profile. And if we will take less time, because if we do 15 watt steps and we don't know where the threshold are, it can be long. But yes, that's it. And until I reach the second threshold, I don't fix a lactate. I look at the trends, and if it go very high, we stop. We don't need to go at the max power.
Mm. Yeah. So then when you've got someone's LT1 and you've established it from that testing, how do you when you then do you use that when you're prescribing people's endurance, sub LT1 training? Do you sometimes do it quite close to LT1, or is it always really far below, or do you do a
Yes,
mixture of both? And why would you do one or the other?
it
Like, what do you
depends.
think the benefits of
Yeah,
doing one or the other?
yeah, it depends. There is lots of cases there. For the really strong riders, their LT1 is that high that it's not possible to ride at their LT1 power for their endurance ride. For the riders more the débutant, for the beginner riders, it's for them their LT1 is it's lower, so they can use that number for their endurance training, and maybe they will not train that long. So if they are doing 1 or maximum 2 hour training in endurance during the week, they can be near their LT1, because we want to increase the stress on this type of training, and it works well for them. So I use it like that. And for the riders more advanced, with the LT1, it's too high. So when I want to walk at LT1, I do block, and it's a real training. I put the LT1 in zone 3 actually, because for me it's not zone 2 anymore. Like the RPE, if we look at that, it's more 5 or maybe 6 out of 10. So it's tempo work. It's a real work. It's a real training. And for the endurance ride, I give them the maximum. It will be 10 or 15% below the LT1. So it may be 30 or between 30 and 40 watts below. And during the off season, I think we can train near that power. So I zone 2, because there is not much fatigue from races, from travel. You don't need to be fresh for the high intensity training too, because during the winter I work more around LT1 and LT2. So even if you have a bit of fatigue, it's okay. And I find that it worked very well for the rider I coach. They all see a huge progression during their zone 2 at the high end of the zone. And during the season, I ask them to reduce the power, because with the races, during the week they will do maybe one race day or more, one intensity day, and so all the training around that, it's easier, because the volume itself, it will be just good stimulus for the training, for the adaptation. And the difference between mid zone 2, low zone 2, or even high zone 1 and high zone 2, it's not that high in terms of physiological adaptation. It's more stress for sure in the high zone 2, but if you have already lots of stress with the races and the training, you don't need that stress. During the winter, we can optimize and try to accumulate the most more stress, but not in season. So, but if you are really strong, really good, some days I find that it's okay to ride in zone 2. You will see during your ride, like it's natural for you to ride at zone 2, because you are good. But I don't want them to force the power during this ride.
So you said you feel like the stimulus isn't that much stronger for riding closer to LT1, but yet you said you do also do a lot of it over winter and it works very well. So could you just sort of clarify that, because that sounds a bit confusing.
It's just a balance during the week between stress and recovery. And if there is too much stress, you will not improve and you need to be fresh. But during the winter, I think you don't need to be that fresh to be good, because there is no races, there is not much high intensity training, so we can optimize for the stress, for the load, and then during the season we optimize more for the recovery side. So because the races are that hard that you need to be fresh, you need to recover during the week, and you need to be fresh for the maybe one intensity training during the week. And I think that it's not a good idea to put your focus on the zone 2, but during the winter it works. And for me it's nice to change also during the season the type of training to adapt, and during the winter more focus on the threshold, and during the season it's more, we could say, polarized.
That's a great philosophy. So what would for a rider who's say got, I don't know, more or less full time, who's got 20 plus hours a week to train and racing at your level or higher, what would you like say in a winter training week, how many days of that sort of closer to LT1 training would you do? Like what the sessions look like, and and then if first of all that.
Yes, it can be maybe 3 or 4 training, like all the maybe all the rides, like maybe 2 easy ride during the week, and all the other rides you can ride closer to the high zone 2, not LT1. It's 30 watts below LT1, but you can do that. You can do that even for the training with thresholds. You can do that before, you can do that after. I find it do at the end of the week it's a very high load, but if you're able to recover from that, I think it's a very useful, very good stimulus.
So because have you tried, for example, like extreme, doing just way more really easy riding, say, instead of doing a 4 or 5 hour ride close to LT1, just doing like 7 hours really easy, and sort of compared the response there?
Yes, I think both can work very well. I'm not sure if one is really better than the other. I don't know. It's also something I can individualize for the riders. Maybe some riders will want to do longer and easier because that's what they like, and some will want to increase their power during the endurance ride. It's something I really saw now for the past 2 years, riders asking me to do this zone 2 ride because they like that. They like to ride fast. It's not that hard. Maybe the training is a bit shorter too. So if a rider ask me to put that in his training, I will be okay. And if you want to do longer ride and easier, I can be okay too.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't have a particularly strong. Let's say if someone wants to do 30 hours a week,
Yes.
All zone 1, or they do 20 hours a week, like 30 watts under LT1. Your opinion is that the stimulus is probably the same. Like
Yes.
there's not an advantage to doing one or the other particularly.
Yes. But yeah, I found the option with Zone 2. To me, it's a bit better, but I think physiologically it's the same. But because if they do the Zone 2, they will ride faster. They will maybe put their focus on the aero on the training. They will try to ride fast, and it's something that it's very important in races. So they get used to do eyes on 2 and in aero position because they want to see the average speed like above 34 kilometers.
Right. Yeah,
And
like when I
it
was
can
in
improve.
France last year, I used to do this sort of riding on like a gravel track alongside the river, and it was good because it was flat, but it was sort of mildly technical. So like I could be going 38, 40 kilometers an hour for
Yes.
2, 3 hours, but I'd have to sort of concentrate to just sort of get around all the corners and sort of dodge things. So, and similarly when I was on the road, I'd sometimes pick like, just slightly technical lanes, and I felt that transferred well to racing, just like putting down the power on like not just like on a Cat Voix sort of like really straightforward road, but actually just doing it on something mildly technical. So yeah, no, I think that's an underrated uh, advantage of the
For
closer to
sure, yes.
LT1 riding.
Yes, and it's really often forgotten. Like there is all that side in performance too. If we look for the durability, for example, I think sometimes it's not the physiological side that we want to improve, but it's all of that we need to improve. It's the aerodynamic, it's the technical skills, the racing skills, and everything, and that will really improve rider performance, maybe more than. Asking the question if it's better to ride in zone 1 or in zone 2, or just all that question about physiological side, because at the end I think to me that there is not much difference if you look only at the physiological side, but if we look at the technical side and everything, when we took all the aspects of performance, the mental side also, like rider getting confidence from one type of training or another one, because he trusts more that type of training, and he will get more progression from that. He will be happier to train, and he will trust that, and at the end it will make him progress.
Yeah, no, I think that's really true. Yeah. So with the you talk about doing like LT2 training. Like how do you prescribe that? What do the sessions look like, and like when would you do that in someone's build, or like
Yes.
this sort of question.
Yeah, during the build, I think it worked really well because in season it's harder to put a training block. Like the time to get adaptation, it's longer for LT2. Like you need to do more session. If you do high intensity, you will be faster in shape. So in season, if you have the time to do only one or two, maybe sometimes with all of the races, it's hard to put a lot of training. So it's hard to put a block of LT2. And I think to see progress, you need to do a block of LT2, like at least a 6 session in 4 or 5 weeks. And yeah, for me, it's just there is a few options, like the riding straight at your LT2 power, or doing intensity variation, like what we call lactate shuttling, like 1 minute above LT2 and then a few minutes under LT2, closer to LT1 actually, or over under, like when I'm training, for me is over under, it's a really bit above and bit under. And lactate shuttling for me, it's really above and LT1. Then 1 minute, 4 minutes, for example. And because during the LT1 part, you will use a lot of lactate, and this will work on the mechanism behind the lactate clearance and the usage of lactate, and it will improve your threshold's power, because at the end the threshold it's the balance between the production and the clearance of the lactate, and if you clear more lactate, you will see your threshold improve. And that's it. So during the winter it worked really well for the rider I coach, and if a rider have the time during the season to do a block of training, I will put training around LT2. It's
So I first saw about you from your interview you did with Coley, who we both know, and so I know Coley pretty well, and he's helped me a lot with my coaching. So his philosophy with over-unders, which is kind of where I'm at with it as well, is that there's kind of nothing special about it in a way, in that using like using more lactate as a fuel doesn't make you better at using lactate. So like for me, I'll set people over unders sometimes, but it's only really because it mimics the race, or because someone enjoys it, or some people find it really boring to just ride at one power for like 20 minutes straight. So I just give them like 45 seconds over, 2 minute 15, or 1 minute 4 minute, or just some kind of variation like that. But are you of the opinion that like it's important stimulus to do the over unders as opposed to just riding straight at LT2 or straight at 95% or something like that?
Yeah. No, to be honest, no. I think it's not very, very important, and I like the physiological side of the training, and be digging deeper in that, but I know that the difference between one type or another one type of training, at the end it's not much, and that's why I also ask my riders what they like, and I want to make variation during the week too. Like one type of training, maybe straight power at 95 or 100% LT2. Another it's with variation, and I think at the end that's what is important. It's the rider need to enjoy the process, and if they enjoy the process, they will train more. They will stay focused on the training, and they will do weeks and weeks and weeks of training. That's what makes the progress, not the choice, the right choice of the training. It's important for sure, but not the most important thing.
So how do you progress these sessions by do you see people, or do you ask your riders to try and progress the power they do on these with each session, or do you progress the duration they spend at a certain power, or do you just sort of do the same session and just hope that at the end of
it's more the duration, or it depends actually. If you have the time to do a big block, you have the time to see progression during the training. If you have less time, maybe the training will not evolve much, because from one session to another in 1 week you will not see huge progression, so it may stay the same. And for me it's not a problem if there is not a huge difference in load between two training in 1 or 2 weeks. It's okay. Just at the end, you need to accumulate time around LT2 and do high intensity stuff. So yeah, that's it. If you have 4 or 5 weeks for a big block of training, you can see increase of duration of the training around LT2. Not much the power, because I saw it if I do lactate test during a block, it will not change much the power at LT2. That's why I want to do a long block, because it takes time to see progress there. So it's better if you have the time to do it rather than the high intensity stuff. When we do the first block of high intensity just before the first races, there we can see huge progression, and there the watts can be increased session to another session.
So just to clarify, you think that the LT2 work will increase, like, the size of someone's threshold? It just takes a long time, but it does eventually work? Or are you saying that it doesn't actually increase someone's threshold at all? It just increases how long they can hold it for?
Both. It depends your level, I think. And I've seen both. Sometimes both in the same time. Sometimes you are so much stronger than you will not gain much watts in LT2, or it depends the time of the season too. Like during the winter, after time off, you will for sure gain watts. And in season, we are more working on the time to exhaustion at that power.
Because where I'm going to go next to this question is, if you've got a rider who, for example, races in northern France or in Belgium or something, where the race demands never really mean they have to ride like at LT2 for an extended period of time, would you still find, and let's say you're also finding that it's not really increasing the size of their threshold because they're quite an advanced, well-trained rider, would you still use this type of training, or do you think just focus more on LT1 and on VO2 max and anaerobic capacity and sprint and stuff, because they don't really need it in the race?
Yeah, it depends. I would say that they need it, because if you do the breakaway, for example, in France, maybe all of the races, the stronger riders will go in breakaway, maybe not at the beginning of the race, but in the last hour. And if you want to win the race, you need to keep the power very high at that time. And so for that, you need a high LT2 power. And in season, we may work the LT2 too. But it depends, because it's also lots of fatigue, and if you do lots of races and not much time to do training block, you cannot really do for me a nice block of LT2. So it depends also on that. No, I'm not just looking at the French race in the north when it's flat and there is small climbs, and I will not say that you really don't need to work LT2, because no, for me it's a mistake. You need to work the LT2 during the winter. In season, if you race every week, for me it may not be the good option, even if it's good to change the type of training during the year and to do a bit of everything. So I'll try in the season to put at least a few weeks of training around LT2. But yeah, even for the sprinters, they need their LT2 to be high, because it's the base of cycling to perform. To perform, you need a high base, and you need a high LT2 and high LT2, high LT1. If you work your LT2, you will maybe increase also your LT1 power, and it will improve your performance. Not just LT2, but for all the power. So yeah, it depends.
Yeah, the way I do it sometimes, and that's it. Is like over the winter I might be like more polarized, more like LT1 and VO2 max, and then actually do the LT2 work as like in season is like your midweek session. So like if someone races on a Sunday, do it on Wednesday, And I kind of like that because it's sort of not as fatiguing as or like mentally or physically as VO2 max stuff. And then it means like you're going into the season with your threshold as already as high as it's going to get, and then you just like sort of building on your endurance then and ability to hold that threshold for longer. Because I find that detrains quite quickly as well. I don't know if you find this, but like say you do a block of LT2 and someone at the start could hold their LT2 for 40 minutes and by the end they can hold it for an hour or 70 minutes. If you then don't do any LT2 training for 2 months, it goes back down to 40 minutes again.
Yes.
Whereas like if you do VO2 max training, the VO2 max goes up. If you then don't do any VO2 max training, but you do some races, you do some LT2 work, your threshold stays about where it is, as long as you just like don't start doing nothing. But I don't know, is that an approach you ever experimented with, doing it like the other way around?
Um, not really actually, but what I found about training and coaching is that it's also a fatigue question, fatigue management question, and the races are very hard. If you do 4 hour full gas, I find that during the week you cannot do much. So training around LT2, you can, but you cannot last very long at that intensity because you have pain in the legs. It's too, yeah, it's legs feel heavy, and maybe what you see when you think your altitude decrease, it's not that it decreases, it's just that you are tired. I think behind in your, if you look only at the physiological side, your altitude is the same, but you are more fatigued and you cannot keep the power for that long, and that's why you saw your altitude power. That's what I see in my riders. So I prefer to do some high intensity stuff during the week, some short intensity, not very hard session, just to do a bit of intensity. It also depends of the rider type. Like the climbers rider, for them, they can work at altitude during the season and between races. It really depends, in fact, of the riders. Like I coach riders, very good climbers, like focusing for the Isar or Val d'Aosta or Alpizar 2 or very the races under 23 for the climbers. And for them, I work closer to LT2 during the season and more high intensity stuff during the winter, because that's what they need, and they are able to do that type of training during the season between the races because they are good at it, they enjoy it. And for the rider, more on the glycolytic side, like for me, for example, it's very hard. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah,
Mm.
if I have time, if I have a recovery block and then time to train, I will do that. But if I do race every week, I prefer to do some short high intensity like 30 30 30 15 and everything, because I'm good at it, I enjoy it, and I find that it keep my VO2 max high, my power for the glycolytic high, and it worked for me. But for the climbers, it may not work because for them they don't enjoy it. It's too hard. Like something I really saw in training is that I can keep a very high power average for 8 or 10 minutes doing 40-20s. But if I do the same power straight, like if I'm aiming for 350 watts for 10 minutes, I'm really full gas. It's very hard for me.
Mm.
And if I do
Mm.
the same in a 30-15, it's okay. I will be fine. I can do a few blocks during my ride. But if I do 10 minutes at 350, it's like it's not a 10-minute test, but very exhausting for me and not fun. And our climbers, it's the other way around. They will enjoy the 10 minutes at 350, but not the 40-20s.
Mm. Just to put out a possible theory for that, do you think it's because if you do when you do your 40 30 15s or you do your on off intervals, are you perhaps getting out of the seat a lot more and then like sitting down, whereas if you try to do the steady state, you're seated for more of it, and you struggle more with seated power? Just
Yeah, no,
an idea.
no, because no, I asked my rider to do their training seated actually. Uh,
Mm,
the difference in performance, it's huge. Even if you do 20 watts less, you will ride so much faster seated on the saddle.
yeah,
And for your the other riders in your wheel, it changed a lot too. Like yeah, if you are seated, it's way harder. They are not that covered from the wind. And so yeah, no, it's something I ask even. So yeah, Collie, give riders high cadence training for the VO2 max, and something I like to give is high cadence training VO2 max for the 40-20s and 30-15 and everything. I find that it
mm,
works very well, and it's this way. If you want to do more than 100 RPM, you need to be seated. So my riders
yeah,
need to be seated for that type of training. I did that too.
yeah. Because you're right. Even on say like in the races in northern France, even on the short climbs, because you're normally doing so much power because they're only short. You're still normally faster if you're seated because the
Yes.
speeds are still like 30k an hour or more, aren't they?
Mm-mm. Yes, that's it.
Um, so where are we next? Um, so you see that there's a lot of this is changing topic quite a bit, but there's the literature around using strength training for improving cycling performance. And I just looking at it, to me, it looks like there's no real debate if you're just looking at the scientific studies that doing strength training is really effective for improving cycling performance. But when you then look at how many riders are actually doing that, it seems like there are quite a lot of riders at all levels that don't do it at all, and yet still seem to be very successful. Um, what's your stance on it, and do you use it with any or all of your riders? And what do you think's going on there with it? The sort of gap in the sort of scientific evidence versus what
Yes.
people actually seem to be doing.
Yes, I agree with you. It's a really good tool for me to improve performance, to improve health too. But it's hard. You need a good planning, and yeah, with the stage races and everything for the pro riders, and even the riders for like me and the French amateur team. I find it very hard with the crashes, the stage races, the travel and everything. Yeah, in fact, I haven't, I think, done one year full strength training 1 day a week for the whole year. It's too hard, and for all my riders, it's a bit like that. So I do strength training for the winter, and then I try to keep it the for the year, but I know that one time, maybe around May, when there is lots of stage races, it's not possible to keep one strength training a week. So maybe we stop that and we get back in the gym for the winter. I know it's not perfect, but I find progress with that, and it's the best we can do. But for riders doing much less race or no racing at all, I find that yeah, for sure, strength training it's a very good tool. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, and a little, I find just a little bit goes a long way for the strength maintenance, doesn't it? Like I remember coming back from some races or stage races when I was in France, and then I had the stuff like just some like weights set up in the basement, and I just, as we were unpacking the bus, I'd just like go straight to
Yeah.
the barbell and just try and just get like 2 sets of 3 reps in or something, because like if it's heavy, that's like all it really needs, isn't it, to maintain your strength for a
Yes.
while.
No, yes, I
Um,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It's very easy to let it go, but
Mm.
if you can, it's a good benefit.
Yes.
Um, do you ever see it increasing, just like in the literature, increasing someone's fatigue resistance or increasing any aerobic parameters, or do you just see it improving someone's sprint and anaerobic capacity?
It's hard to see. It's hard to know what really caused the improvements. So yes, I saw riders improving a lot during strength training, but they did other things too. So
Mm.
we don't know. We trust the science behind that, and I trust the science. So I think it works, and riders doing that find it works too. And on the health side, I find that there is less injury during strength training. I find my knee are stronger, and I'm stronger. Like my whole body is stronger. I'm working my uh, how do we say that, the gainage, the core body, the core, yeah, like
Hmm.
if you have the barbell on your back, you will work your core. So no, I think it's a very good tool for just a strong athlete, more
Mm.
than a cyclist. Like you need to be an athlete before, and yeah, it work everything. The mobility too. I do full range of motion because I think that it's it's good if you, for sure, if you do strength training to improve your performance, it's what we want. But we want to, I want that the health of my riders improve too, and I think that doing full range of motion, it's improve more the health, and for the performance, it's the same. I think so. I'm more on the side of the full range of motion, and thinking to
Mm.
health too.
Yeah, because also I wonder, for example, like cyclists when they crash, they often break their collarbone, and yes,
Yes.
maybe that's because of how you fall, but perhaps it's also because you never use your upper body. You never, you're very weak. Your collarbone's probably really brittle,
Yes.
and maybe that's why they break their collarbones so often. Because actually, maybe their hips and their legs and other bones are a bit stronger, but they've just got really weak collarbones. So um, yeah, but
Yeah.
even just generally having better bone density is going to reduce each other.
Yes.
Because as you know, like realistically, you're going to have quite a few, at least small crashes a year if you're racing a full season in France. So um, if those can just be sort of a bit of minor road rash and not like bone
Yes.
fractures, and even if that means you not just do gym training, but you also have to be 5 kilos heavier over the course of like a few years that you have in racing in the peloton, you probably get better results just for staying healthy longer, won't you?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's a very, yeah, very good to say that, because I've never broke my collarbone, for example, and I've crashed a lot. So, and I
Mm.
did a strength training from, I think, the age of 17 or 16 maybe. So, and I keep not one gym session for 1 week since 10 years, but I did it at least 6 months a year for the 10 years. So it's a lot, and I find I'm strong, and yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it worked for bone density, and for the bone resistance to crash. It's nice, and if we want to see progress, we want to see a rider riding whole year, and never stop riding. In fact, so the crashes and the bone fracture, it's a very not good for the progression. So if we can avoid that, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so um, a lot of people listening probably will know what it's, understand the setup in for racing in France, or um, racing professionally. But just to give some context for those people that are less familiar, would someone riding for a team like yours or a team like I was doing would quite easily do, what would you say, 50 to 80 even race days a year. um
Yeah.
like it's very easy to do really a lot of race days, isn't it?
Yes.
Um, so um, how do you and yeah, what I'd say is my observation is that there are a lot of young kids in France who racing from when they're young and doing this many race days from a young age, and then it does seem to work really well to develop their racecraft, develop their bunch confidence, all their technical and tactical skills. But my suspicion is that as much as it works really well for that, for a lot of them, it holds back their physiological progression
Mm.
because most weeks just look like they do a race, and then the day before the race they've done their deblocage, and the day
Yes.
before that recovery spin, and then they can't do much intensity in the week, and the day after the race they're just like day off, recovery spin, um, and then that's most weeks of the year. And um, so yeah, I guess my question to you is: do you think um, there's a bit of balance to be struck there between racing enough to get your best technical and tactical development and more opportunities for results, and but then also progressing physiologically? Or do you think, yeah, what's your take on all of that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think that's why we see riders that strong very young, because right now the there is development team even if under 19. So there is riders doing only the big races, so they are not racing every weekend like I did when I was young, and I think that explain their level, because the level in under 19 at the World Cup and the World Championships, yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. We can see the
Mm,
numbers. It's really crazy, and I think because they train more and they race less, and that's what we see too in the under 23 category. Like the riders, they are only 19 or 20, and yeah, they have the World Tour level. So I think it's due to that and the more training, but for sure the racecraft, the technical skills, the race skills and everything, you cannot do that in training. And I think maybe yeah, this riders uh, they will lack that, and that's something we already see because there is riders very strong in training. It's crazy the number they can put in training, but they not perform at the level they are in training because maybe they lost so much power for the positioning and just doing not the right effort at the right time. And even if they are really strong, they are yeah not that strong in race, and maybe they will stop their career at the development team because they don't perform. Even if they are really strong, they don't win races. And at the end, you need to win races to be a world tour, even of how do you say that, un équipier,
domestique,
yeah, even a
domestique.
domestic. You need to win races in the under 23 category. So yeah, because there is so much riders, so much good riders that the development team ask their rider to win to get a contract. So I think it's a balance, and a balance that yeah sometimes is forgotten by the development team. They yeah if we look at the the riders in the development team, lots are not racing that much, and they for sure they are really strong, but even if yeah they are really strong, they don't perform that good in the race because of that. And when they race, they are either on the world tour team to help their leader, and they don't learn really how to race because they are just there to ride at the front of the bunch, and then they even DNF the race. And when they race for them for win, they cannot win even if they are strong because just they don't know how to win. And the level is that high that there is other rider that will win. So I think it's a balance, and for that I need to find the balance. So not easy question, good
Mm,
question too, and I think the development team need to work on that, because for me, sometimes it's not the right model, and I understand the money behind, because if you want to race a lot as a development team, you need lots of money too, and for some teams it's hard. I think to the picnic team, for example, if you look at their development team, they maybe very few races. It's crazy. So I think for me, for a young rider, it's not very smart to go in that type of team. You need to win races before, and then when you know how to win races, when you know how to race, you can go in that type of team, because when you have the opportunity to win, you could win. But if you don't know how to win, you cannot took the opportunity to win, and there is few opportunity at that level. So yes, a good question and a balance.
So perhaps if you're an 18-year-old rider and you've got an option to go to a development team, perhaps you might actually be better served to just do a year in French domestic scene and just give yourself opportunities. You can to do lots of different races where you can compete for a result
Yes,
and
I
just get
really
lots of race days in.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for that, teams like I was before AVC Aix-en-Provence in France. I think
Mm.
they are really really good at that, because they do very lots of race. It's race where their rider can win. They have all the chance, and if they took the opportunity, they can win and then get a contract. And if you are a rider in a Devo team just doing the domestic work, at the end of the year, you will not be in the World Tour team, because the team will look at your pro cycling stat profile, and they don't see any win. And
Mm.
that's the reality behind the Devo team and the pro cycling right now. It's a choice to make, and I see riders choosing to stay in France in a Conti team France. It's no not amateur the best like AVC Aix-en-Provence. It's a Conti team. They want to go there and not in a big world team. So I think yeah, it's hard. It's also depend on the rider. But the ideal it's to do 1 or 2 years in that type of team, then 1 year in a Devo team where you can win races and be in touch with a World Tour team, and then sign the contract. It's for me perfect. But if you go in a Devo team right after the under 19 years, maybe if you are really really strong, it will be fine. But if you are not that strong, you are better to go in a smaller team.
Mm. Well, I think this is where the problem of there being so much pressure to turn pro really young is a problem. I think back when the norm was for riders to turn pro at 25, 26 after having, done a few years, in the amateur teams in France, and then, maybe riding for a Conti team, and then, progressing through the ranks like more naturally and gradually. But I think the issue now is there's so much pressure on young riders to be really good and to make it to, World Tour before they're out of under 23s. That's why they feel they have to just, go onto these development teams straight away and, race less and focus on training more from a really young age. And whereas if there was space for them to just, focus on their long-term progression by, first of all, just building their racecraft and then maybe starting to race less and
Yes.
train more, I think that would work well for more people. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, yeah. So that's been a really really interesting chat today. Thanks so much for your time, Mathieu. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or any questions you've got?
No, I think it's good. Yes, thank you for the invitation, and yeah, it was nice to talk about that, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Lots of interesting stuff to cover. So if anyone's interested in your coaching services, or now they've heard the rationale behind your AI platform, where's the best place for people to look at what you do?
Yes, but you can follow me on Instagram. I will give you my Instagram profile, and you can get in touch with me. And even if you are a coach, in the you are interested in in my AI, I will we can chat about that, because I will put the AI for the coach soon. So if you want an
Mhm.
AI for you, we can work on that.
Okay. Well, yeah, excellent. All right. Thank you very much, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. So,
Yes,
yeah, nice
thank
to
you.
catch up, Monsieur.
Yeah, see
Oh,
you.
oh,
Ciao.
bonne chance. Au revoir.
Yeah, merci.